Right, review of the Pulsar X2 Mini. Nice lightweight 52 gram mouse. It is a really good mouse, 52 grams, KLH switches, all that. TTC golden coder, good PTFE feed. 33.95 sensor, all that for under 100 American dollars, or about 120 to 125 Canadian dollars, depending on the retailer that you go to. So, yeah, it's a pretty good mouse. The specs are very, very impressive for the price. So, the shape-wise, it seems very, very viable for fingertip grip. The sides are very, very safe, which means that you're not going to be able to get a very, very good position for clawing it. Especially because this is the mini version, the hump doesn't fill up the hand or anything like that. So, a small hump in comparison with a base that doesn't really support the fingers. When I grip it, my fingers can't really get locked in as well as like on other mice, because it's just very, very flat on the sides, so you don't get a ton of control from the sides, not as you would on like other claw gripping mice. You also can't really claw grip it towards the center without your claw being like super duper aggressive. So if you were to claw grip this, then your fingers would end up more near the front of the mouse, which is even worse because then you have even less control. There's no comfort grooves near the front of the mouse, and relaxed claw is also very difficult. Feels like almost like I'm palming a mouse. I just don't think that this is a very, very good shape for claw grip, and palm grip is out of the question. I mean, you're not going to be able to palm grip this. But as for fingertip, because the hump isn't super duper wide, it means that you can grip this really, really well. On top of that, it's a pretty safe shape. With the sides being flat, it means that you don't get a very, very locked in feeling when claw gripping. But with fingertip, it means that you can kind of grip it wherever you want and still be able to have a fairly normal feeling grip on it. The finger grooves on this for claw grip, they're not as nice because they're so aggressive that like even like moving my fingers a little bit to the left and the right, I feel like even just going like that, it's like no longer usable. Even this feels uncomfortable. It has to be like right in the middle for it to feel very, very comfortable. But for fingertip grip, because of how deep they are, like you could literally like play like with this mouse with just the fingertip grooves. So they are very, very nice for fingertip. And yeah, this shape is basically just like a fingertip grip shape. The shape isn't really meant for claw gripping unless you have very, very small hands and you relax claw, or if you switch claw up a lot, so you go from this to this, because it's a safe shape. I feel like that would be fine. This would be a fine kind of mouse, but I would say that you might want to get the normal sized version, even for smaller hands, if you're going to be claw gripping. Or even just don't get this and get something like the MM712 or the Lanzo Atlantis. Same price or even less for the MM712, and yet I think that's a better shape for claw gripping. So yeah, the quality, the build quality on this is insane. No creaking, no accidental button presses or anything like that. It's an absolute beast of a mouse. Never ever gotten any creaking on this, and it just feels super duper solid. So yeah, very, very good build quality. The scroll wheel is very nice as well. It's very quiet, got some not the best defined steps ever, but it's pretty good. It's much quieter than like the NPO&S, the XM1R, all the mice that I have here, with the exception of maybe the MM710, it's quieter than. I'd say that the scroll wheel is actually quieter than the MM710, but the steps aren't as well defined. I would say that this is still very, very high quality scroll wheel. You're not going to have any problems with it if you are a big scroll wheel geek and you need scroll wheel for the games that you play. So the main clicks are one of the issues that I have with this. They're very, very heavy. They don't feel nice to click at all. They feel a little bit mushy. They still have that tactileness, but I think that's more just because of how heavy they are rather than them being implemented properly. They have very little pre-travel, but they don't have enough post-travel. With mice, if you have a little bit of post-travel afterwards, you get a nice bouncier feeling to the clicks. the Lanzu Atlantis, I hear, has actually done that. And a lot of companies haven't been focusing on the post-travel being at a normal kind of rate. They've just been focusing on trying to get it super duper low. I don't think that that's the right option. The clicks aren't as bouncy when you have very low post-travel. The pre-travel is good, and there's no button wobble because they've got like some things in it to prevent it. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but they've got like these things here. Yeah, they've got those things there, and it kind of prevents the buttons from like wobbling anywhere or anything, which is pretty nice. But again, just too heavy. I don't like them. They're also using KLH, which are they're good switches. KLH are good switches, but I think that companies should start moving to Huano's because Huano's are just nicer. The side buttons they have a really good feeling. Again, really low pre and post travel. I wish they had. Actually, you know what? Yeah, the pre and post travel is very good. I feel like there's no problems with that. They're definitely some of the best that I've felt. They even beat the XM1R's side buttons in terms of feeling alone, because they're just a little bit more tactile and have a little bit less like post travel. But they're too small and the shape of them is very bad. They're just basically like a cylinder going across the side of the mouse, which doesn't make them very comfortable, and they're just too small. I don't know if these are very small because they've shrunk it down to the mini, or if they're this small as well on the normal size. But companies need to stop just shrinking down the mouse and then calling it a day and releasing it as a new product. The scroll wheel and the side buttons need to stay the same size as they are on the large version, because the point of a small mouse is to have a smaller shell and maybe reduce a bit of weight, in my opinion. It definitely can be so that people with smaller hands can use the mouse, but in the case of me, for me at least, I'm getting this so that I have a mouse that's like fingertip grippable, and it's a completely new shape when you shrink it down. You're not going to be using it in the same way at all. The side buttons for that case should be the same size as they are on the normal, and if they are the same size as they are on the normal, this is very disappointing. They're just so small. They don't feel very good at all. The coating is not the greatest either. It doesn't get dirty and it doesn't pick up fingertips or sweat or grease or anything like that, but one issue that I do have with it is that they are just too slippery. Like, there's no grippiness to this. Coating is something that's overlooked by a lot of companies, and it really shouldn't be. It's one of the most important things on a mouse. They don't even slap any extra grips or anything like that in the box that you can use, so I'm kind of just stuck waiting for Corepad to release more grips and get stocked on the Legal Gaming Gear store and stuff like that. I've been trying to find some Corepad grips for the past while now, honestly, but it's just I can't find them anywhere. So yeah, the software though, it's a decent software. Had no issues. It's not laggy or anything like that. Sometimes it doesn't open though, which is very unfortunate. But you can change the lift off distance, the amount of DPI settings that you have. You can change whether you want motion sync. Excuse me. You can change whether or not you want motion sync on or off, which is very nice, because motion sync is, in my opinion, something that all companies should be getting on all of their newer mice. It's just such a good thing to have motion sync. So yeah, software is pretty good, and I guess the conclusion for this mouse is that it's a fingertip good mouse, but claw grip bad mouse, and also improve the switches just in general, like the side buttons and the main switches. The coating as well should be better, but other than that, I think that this mouse is fine. I've got no problems with it elsewhere. I don't really use this for Minecraft or Osu. For Osu, I would be using the NPO1S because I like these buttons, as well as gripping it from the sides is nice. For Minecraft, because I butterfly click, I want a slightly larger mouse, so I use this for Minecraft. This just is too small for Minecraft to butterfly on. The normal version would be fine, but the clicks are also very stiff. It's hard to butterfly on. Even with 0 MS debounce, I find myself often not getting high CPS. So I don't really enjoy using this for Minecraft. But for first-person shooter games or games that don't require a lot of clicking, this has been basically the mouse that I've been going to, and I've been really enjoying using it elsewhere. It's not Minecraft or Osu or clicking games or anything like that. So yeah, Pulsar did a really good job on this mouse. I've been really enjoying it, and I hope that they can release a mice in the future, especially a fingertip only mouse. I want to try one, but they're just so expensive right now. If they release like a $95 fingertip only mouse, I would be so hyped to try that, because I've just been wanting to get one that isn't a million quadrillion dollars. So yeah, I look forward to what Pulsar is going to produce in the future. So this mouse is pretty good, and yeah, I guess that's it. That's the end of the review.